Hello everybody, it's Holger Mueller here from Constellation Research, welcoming you to episode 84 of Constellation TV with my fabulous co-host Liz Miller. Welcome Liz, how are you doing?
What's up, Holger? I'm good. We've been back on the road. Did you have a little summer travel spurt? I had a summer travel spurt, and then you're going to start to calm down.
I went to this place called San Diego, as you can see from my background. It's the first time I'm home for 2 weeks. Everybody's getting annoyed and asking me when I'm leaving again. You, on the other side, you went to a rainy island, right? Tell us about your trip.
I did go to a rainy island. I left my home of Los Angeles, California, where it was 110 degrees when I got onto the airplane. And then I got off the airplane in drizzly London, where it was 64 degrees. It was very, very
Welcome to British summer.
Welcome to British summer, where it's summer in the morning and then fall in the afternoon and just winter in the evening. It was very, very confusing. But it is a good way to kick off our news for this episode. So let's get into it. I really cannot say that I was honored, honored, humbled, like all the words, right? The great team at AWS, out of their media and advertising and sports and gaming group, invited me to get a behind the scenes look at F1. Now, I'm just going to admit this right at the top. I do not know a ton about F1. While I am a big sports fan and put me in front of a TV, I'll watch hockey all day long. Like, I love it. I will watch football. Y'all decide which one it is from wherever you are sitting in the world. But F1 was one of those things that I didn't really, I've never really been into. I didn't really watch. And also, I'm going to be honest, F1's really complex, right? Like, it's actually kind of a complicated thing to become a fan of, because you're like, wait, what, the car and then the two cars, they're actually part of the same team and they're race. There's a lot of stuff in F1. But AWS is really, many years ago, they actually signed on with AWS to be kind of their backbone and their technology partner and a key technology partner for F1. And really, I mean, when you look at F1, it is about technology, both at the car level, but also at the track and also in broadcasting. And it's really, really super impressive. And so the wonderful team at AWS gave me an opportunity to come and actually check it out and get all the behind the scenes before all of the race and all the fanfare and all the excitement of, everything from Lewis Hamilton to all the other superstars. We got a chance to not just see, the paddocks, but what is the technology that makes the paddocks the paddocks? What's the technology that makes things like F1 insights come to life? And when you realize just the hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of points of data that a car spits out, but also that track and that course spits out, it is a mountain of chaos and complexity that really, through this partnership with AWS, F1 has really been able to deliver a very unique fan experience that really kind of allows a fan to be just as in the know, just as data driven as everyone in the pits and everyone in the broadcast booth. So it was really super exciting. I'm actually going to write up what my experience was like. So I'll have that out in a little bit, but I'll tell you, Holger, it was like data heaven. It was really, and also they have this, entertainment broadcast center that they put up. It's this huge, it's a huge facility. They bring their servers with them. They bring all of their equipment with them because F1 is actually the broadcaster that then ships out all of that data and all of the feeds, audio, video, everything to all of the international broadcasters around the world. And just the sheer capacity to connect and compute at the F1 level is insane. Like their
logistics. Just the mere logistics. Moving this from one place to another in a week or to another continent, they usually give us some 2 weeks
they hopscotch the equipment. Yeah. And so the entire broadcast center, they have 2 of them, and they literally just hopscotch around. Like, so when they were in Europe and they were literally going from like Austria to Belgium to England, they are literally just moving all of this equipment around. And, hey, shout out to the folks at TCS, who's also, a sponsor and a technology partner. They work hand in hand with AWS to literally lay down fiber every single time they get to a course. They're bringing in 2 lines. They're bringing in the Europe. They're bringing in the Trans-Pacific to make sure that they have failover in communication. So they've got fiber. They've also got satellite. Hey, if they need to, they can hit that emergency button so that what the fan experiences at home is never interrupted, and it doesn't look like a fail, but you're always seeing what's happening at some point of the race. So it's a really interesting strategy that they've mapped out, but I'm going to tell you the insider secret that I thought was super interesting. Their head of transformation and innovation said something just that really stuck with me, that he was like, it was almost for them, for F1, it was more important for them to create a technology space where they could fail, as opposed to always having a technology space where they had to succeed, right? So they could come up with all of the backup plans. They could come up with all of the failovers and what happens when, but it really comes down to the people, right? It comes down to the people who are in the truck, but it comes down to the teams and the people on the teams and the people in the paddocks. One of the examples at one of the races, not in Silverstone, but at an earlier race, someone's trailer actually caught fire. And if you see these things, it's like a 3-story truck. It's like a transformer that expands out and becomes like a mini hotel, like that can travel. And like a fire broke out in the wall of one of the units. And it was like they were out of transformer. So what happened? Their competitor on the track literally rolled over a transformer, because you know what? Once you're in that paddock, everyone's in the same spot, and you might be competitors on that car and on that track, but when you're in that alley, everyone's in it together, which, you know, it always comes down to the people.
You need the race, right? Yeah. So you need the race,
yeah, you need the race.
They won't share, and they will fight with each other and sue each other.
Exactly.
It was just really cool. You get the word transformer.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, but then it was really interesting to then come back home and realize that AWS Summit was kicking off the very next day. So Holger, you've been watching that and you've been tracking that event really closely. What have you been seeing coming out of that? I understand that there might be a rumor that there's a thing that AWS might be involved in. I think it's called AI.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah,
so what have you been seeing out of Summit?
Yeah, I made it the lazy way. I didn't travel for 12 hours to New York and back. I made this from San Diego. The keynote was broadcasters. Matt Wood was there to talk about the progress, right? He's Mr. AI over at AWS. No surprise. Nothing super flashy, which I always say, it's kind of like no big news to write about. But for customers, that is actually the good news, which means that there's solid progress made across the board, right? And for Amazon AI is, of course, all about Q. Q has significantly more connectors to go to other things, and Amazon has worked really hard on making it more relevant in the sense of that you can do better grounding and can set better guardrails, right? His example was, if your customer AI should never talk about gaming, you can shut down gaming right away from the get-go. Similar, the move to agents is a general trend in the industry, right? Making things working automagically to a certain point through agents, so significantly improvements of making agents more available. And back to tie it together, right? So Formula One is such a showcase for technology, so pretty much every vendor we work with is on one of those cars somewhere, somehow. AWS, right? In something where you think AWS has an automotive and manufacturing unit, because they're not an ERP vendor. What do they do there? Partnership with Ferrari, right? I don't know if I showed it to you, right? Getting more data available. Of course, using what always it goes down to, SageMaker everywhere, in the combination with lots of models being available for Bedrock. That's the story. The interesting thing is that they unveiled, I've heard for the first time, the AWS supercomputer, Cebu, which runs NVIDIA workloads. So NVIDIA is up to an interesting business model saying, I give you my GPUs, in return, I'll pay you for running my workloads, which they have done with Oracle, which apparently done with Microsoft, which apparently know they've done with AWS. So Jensen Huang is doing something smart.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Come on, Jensen knows this.
Partner.
Ecosystem. It's going to be the word of it, right? Exactly. Heading us into 2025 for sure.
But talking about the cloud winner we haven't talked about, right? There was not happening acquisition, right?
Well, yeah, and I think that let me look around. Hang on, I've lost my shocked face. I think that's a good one, right? We'll go with that. Google, like the news has come out now that Google and HubSpot will not be becoming bed buddies. That acquisition stalled really even before it got started. It didn't even get into like discovery or, you know, really past initial conversations. I would like to be able to be a better pretender or a better just outright liar and just be able to say, I am so shocked about this. I cannot believe that this deal did not go forward. But to be very honest with you, it would have been a sweet deal for Google. You would have owned the entire continuum of, inbound marketing relationships. You could control all of the inbound traffic and all of the advertising and all of the things that go into that black box. And then you would have been able to control what an application would be able to do with that information throughout that seamless process. The people that would have had the biggest issue with that would be a little group that I call antitrust regulators. They probably would not have appreciated that a single organization that may or may not be in front of different courts at the moment for antitrust issues or violations around data or business practices, owning the entire continuum of such an important business process. So it didn't really surprise me that a lot of those conversations broke down. The bigger question that I had throughout this entire process has really been, what was going to be in it for the HubSpot customer? We all know what was going to be in it for HubSpot, right? That would have been a really nice payday. But when it came to what was in it for the HubSpot customer, I couldn't really get to an end statement on that. There are a lot of anecdotal things like, oh yes, you'd have this really seamless end-to-end process. And, oh, they could open up the black box and you wouldn't have to worry about where all of this was coming from. But were they going to? Like, was that actually going to happen? Because that really hasn't happened in some of the other acquisitions they've had. So I kept trying, and I tried hard. I squinted and turned my head to the left, plugged my nose, the whole 9 yards. Really could not find where this was going to be a big deal for HubSpot customers. And I think that probably had something to do with this, because HubSpot is notorious for being as loyal to their customers as their customers are to them. And I think that is a really big thing about becoming a HubSpot customer. You might not be getting all the bells and whistles or all the big dreams of some of the other CRM platforms out there or some of the other CX providers out there, but what you're getting is a company that innovates because of you and for you when you are a customer, and they are very focused in that. There is a culture there, and it is a culture that, absolutely. And they mean it, and I've always been very impressed by that with HubSpot. So I think that to some degree, while the conversation was probably intoxicating, there were probably more questions in that first conversation between the two organizations, and that fizzled pretty quickly. I think that there is a lot of opportunity, though, and I think what this has done has really probably perked up a lot of the platforms into looking at HubSpot as a, wait a minute, is this a different way we could approach this holistic CX platform? Maybe the way we've been trying to do it with these bits and pieces across sales and marketing, maybe that's not the way to do it. Maybe looking at someone like a HubSpot, where it is that ecosystem of hub and spoke partners, that open ecosystem that can really fit it. Maybe that's what we should be looking for. So I think that the whole conversation has opened up a fairly significant conversation. And I don't think Google's going to be the last organization to go sniff around HubSpot for an acquisition.
Well, yeah, and the interesting thing to me is it's very hard for an infrastructure platform company to become an application company. Historically, Google has tried that also in the HR space. The name of the acquisition escapes me. There was a job hire API, very similar advertising bound job hire thing, and that didn't go anywhere. So I think it takes different understanding. It's hard to do. I mean, it took Oracle 20 years to get the second leg next to technology. IBM disbanded their SaaS portfolio pretty much again. So it shows like lots of people have tried and failed. Why should it be different for Google right now?
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, right, there's one cloud vendor we haven't talked about yet, the fourth one, right, which is Oracle. Oracle just launched Oracle Exascale for Oracle Exadata, lots of Exa in there. In the essence, it basically comes back to pay-as-you-go has arrived for Oracle customers on the database when they move their database to the cloud.
Oh.
Question is, like, what? Hasn't it been cloud and pay-as-you-go all the time? No, it has not been pay-as-you-go all the time because you needed to reserve capacity in instances. Now with innovations, it always starts with the storage layer. There's the ability to ramp up and ramp down compute resources to the storage. Coming back to what's working so well for Oracle Cloud right now, it turns out if you design a cloud to work well for database workloads, it also works pretty nice for AI workloads and to scale up and down because you don't want to use CPUs for some reason. So that innovation altogether has brought pay-go for Oracle database customers if they move their database from on-premises to the cloud, which is largely part of the Oracle dynamics. Interesting tidbit here, though, Oracle, and I just learned this morning, has done more business since 1.5 years with non-Oracle workloads than with Oracle workloads, which is an important emancipation work. So when you think about how long, for instance, over the friends at Redmond and Azure have been living from converting web servers and Office from on-premise to Office in the cloud. So That's an interesting data point.
It also shifts that conversation around efficiency, right? Because I think we've always been looking at performance efficiency and what's happening on the silicon and what's happening on the server. But now all of a sudden, when you can start to predict your financial, efficiencies, and when you're starting to look at that cost, because it's always going to come down to that cost conversation. And we're seeing this mirror in what's happening in AI conversations, right? It feels, everything you're saying about this feels so similar to everyone being like, oh, but we're by consumption, and what are we going to do? Because we can't predict the cost. And we're seeing really Oracle come out with that very new conversation around efficiency, which I think is really important.
But talking about AI, right? The interesting thing is there's not enough compute for doing all the AI. There's some interesting innovation. People building custom chips. There's a most interesting hardware news for me of the last news cycle has a startup called Edge.ai, which is building the transformer algorithm, which powers all the generative AI right now, on silicon. Right, so very interesting innovation. Of course, it will run more efficient. Will have to be built and seen, but of course, it has up towards a GPU, which originally was supposed to power graphical user interfaces or graphical screens. So we'll see how that goes.
Someone's going to arm wrestle CUDA.
CUDA is a software architecture. It's not the hardware architecture. Right? We'll see.
But it's the only one out there. So who's going to go arm wrestle them? Can they come up with something about that?
Yeah, but look, we should talk about CUDA at some point because everyone is CUDA. CUDA is only relevant for NVIDIA, right? And keep in mind, 5 years ago.
And what's the only game in town?
No. This is the game in town which Microsoft brought into town because they failed to build their custom.
That's true.
All the cloud vendors know they have to build their own chips with their custom algorithms because NVIDIA is too expensive, right? So Jensen Huang and NVIDIA are living on lease time that people want to have the portability, and on the success of OpenAI, which picked NVIDIA in 2016 as their platform. Good choice, maybe not good choice, but very expensive choice, right? This is why Sam Altman is flying in the Middle East trying to find 100 billion to build the next supercomputer.
Right.
Which probably is not going to be NVIDIA based, right? So it's going to be.
This is why you got to have another conversation that's just going to talk about this because we've eaten up all of our time on the news.
Exactly.
All righty, here we go.
I'll ask you about the soccer predictions and predict to the France prediction.
You're not.
In our
wrap. Because we're out of time.
Wait for it.
We're out of time now.
No, not now. Not now. We're done.
Okay, later.
We're done.
Later.
We're doing
okay. Listen, we got some great interviews coming up. You're going to be able to see some conversations with our newest analyst here at Constellation Research. So stay tuned for that. We got to do a little hazing. You know when you guys start, we got to start in. But so stay tuned for those clips, and we'll see you in a few.
Hello, everybody. It's Holger Mueller here with my fabulous co-host to the Salon 50. We haven't done one in a while, but we have a super occasion. Hey, Liz, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing even better because someone decided to, I don't know, hit his head on a wall and then said yes to joining us. Come on. This is awesome. Martin's here. What's up, Martin?
It's scary. It's scary. And hey, Martin, welcome. We're doing the Salon 50, which is our hazing exercise for new employees and our get-to-know exercise for software sales executives. Obviously, you fall in the new employee category. Welcome to Constellation Research. We have 5 categories. Pick from one of them and say who you want to ask, Liz or me.
I am going to pick hobbies and Liz.
What? Fine.
All right. So I like the one, I don't know how you find time to do anything because I see how busy you are, right? And I know as busy as I'm quickly becoming after joining already. But if there's, kind of bucket list, what is a hobby you'd like to pick up if you had world enough in time?
Okay, this is going to sound strange, but I have been recently obsessed with the idea of crocheting because have you seen those little kits that come and you can make like a little bag, crocheted like animals, like a Wobble or something like that? I'm even saying the brand wrong, but like it comes with the whole instruction and like you can make a narwhal or you can make a lion. They're so darn cute. And I just keep thinking to myself, like, if I got good at that, I could like knock one of those out in a plane ride.
Yeah.
So that crochet.
So it's also like a great
look out for Liz's Etsy store coming in late 2024.
Right. Like I could just be like tossing them at my daughter, like, hey, here's a little mom guilt heading your way. It's a narwhal, and just
hate to be the person. This is supposed to be 1 minute. Chop. Question back to Martin.
Oh gosh, it's so surprising that Holger is being German right now. Okay, I'm gonna stick with hobbies. And I'm going to ask you, oh boy, what is your favorite sport to watch on TV? And I'm just going to tell you that if you don't say Tour de France, Holger's just going to bring it up randomly. So I'm going to warn you about that.
Tour de France, obviously. For me, it's football because I love that it's like micro strategies that happen in 40 seconds. American football.
American football. American football. Or professional?
Yeah. Professional. I don't like college.
Excellent. Yeah. I like you already,
Martin. Quick follow is baseball because I have a nephew who plays professional baseball, so I have to
nice.
I gotta watch that. But
family and friends, of course, valid excuses.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, now Martin, you got to ask Holger one. New category.
Okay, let's change categories.
You have to.
And think about because given the German, Holger, what's your favorite word to use in the workplace? This could be English or German, I guess.
English or German? Well, the German word is obviously nichtsdestotrotz, which is nonetheless anyway, in one word, nichtsdestotrotz, right? So because nicht is then wrong, desto, and trotz is against. In English, it's kind of fluctuating. You know, I take a lifeline and let Liz decide what's my most used word. Hannah can chime in. What? Which one?
I was just shouting exit. Don't mind me.
Exit. Okay. So which category was it, Martin? Let me ask you back. Was
work? I think it was.
Work. It was. Okay. I'm asking you back. If you could choose, starting tomorrow, work in the office or work from home?
Kids are home from school for the summer, so right now it's office.
Anywhere but here.
Theoretically home.
And the office isn't home, right? So, okay, Constellation, trick question. You mastered this one. All right, pick the next one for Liz. Different category.
Okay, let's go with career. And I'm going to say, what work skill do you wish you had?
What work skill do I wish I had? Diplomacy.
Close to one, which if you put a lifeline to me, I would have said, but okay, yeah.
I would, you know what? No, I would say writing short and sweet. I am the queen of, if I had more time, this letter would be shorter.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Great.
I always think like, let's wrote a blog, let's read it. It's too long.
Holger, yes. I see you next week and I will kick you. We're not cutting that out of CRTV. We understand that, right? Hannah's not going to cut that out. Anyway, you just, bring shin guards. Exactly. No, I'm going to kick you back. Anyway, okay. Here's one. What is the first technology? I'm going to put that in quotes. What is the first technology you used in your career and how did that go?
That's a really good question because I think like I could say something like email was probably, but I honestly think when career, I was like a co-ad and TA at Rutgers when I was in grad school. And I used to use like IRC to like chat with students to almost to prove a point because they'd be like, I can't write a 3-page paper. And I'm like, we just chatted and you wrote the equivalent of like a 10-page position, you can write. Right. So that was kind of one of my earliest discoveries was like writing fatigue was actually like not a real thing. Kids would, they could type faster than they could handwrite stuff. So kind of a little trick I pulled on the students. Yeah.
IRC or email? Which one is it? IRC or email?
I'll say IRC. Yeah.
Nice.
Because I don't think I was sending emails. I was actually chatting before I was, because I didn't have, in academia, we didn't really send emails. We didn't have any reason for that.
Very good.
I still had a little square inbox, like a physical one that people would give me letters.
I remember those too. Martin, pick another category which we haven't used and ask me something.
All right, let's go to. We're going to go into personal. And as somebody who's already lived in 2 countries, if you had to relocate to another country, where would you like to live?
Easy question for me because I also lived in Italy. I would go to Italy, of course. No.
He'd go back.
If I would have to choose a country that I have not lived in and have to live for the rest of my life, I probably would take Switzerland. Beautiful. Friends one on time, expensive, but a good place.
You can go ski.
You get a little bit of your German, you get a little bit of your Italy there, you get it all.
Actually, you got everything in one country. Yeah, beautiful. But if you pick me for the place where to take vacation, my first favorite place out here is French Polynesia. Sailing between Bora Bora, Raiatea, Moorea, something everybody has to do once in their life.
Okay.
All right. Asking you back on, it was personal, right?
Yeah.
No. Well, we had personal. What's your favorite word? You asked me that already.
I thought that was in work. I thought it was your work word.
Yeah. So I'll pick.
You had to get picky. Just ask the man a question.
Yeah. I'll pick another. I take from wisdom.
Yeah.
So you can take it from the last one. Is there a book that has inspired you?
No, I hate. No, I'm just kidding. I was an English. I was an English major and and I taught English at university before I like got into tech. So it's like that's like such a crazy choice, because I can think of like, I think a book that taught me not to like worry so much, strangely enough, is Gravity's Rainbow by Thomas Pynchon, because it's just so, there's like such this like craziness of it, and it's just, I don't know what it is, but every time I read into it about like entropy and chaos and all that, it's like,
yeah,
embrace the entropy and embrace the chaos. So it's kind of been a really it's been a really influential book for just my psyche, really.
Nice.
Never heard of that. Okay, cool.
Okay, I think we're down to last question, right, Holger? Is the last question? Okay, Martin.
Make it a hard one.
All right. I think we've done every one technically now, right? So I can kind of go anywhere.
Yeah, no. 4 questions. 4 questions. This is a 5th. There should be no double dipping.
Holger, just let the man ask whatever question he wants.
Pick any question. We don't have time.
Just let him pick any question he wants.
Any question, but it has to be.
Do you see how this goes? Do you see how this goes? This is just how it goes.
I'm just kidding. All right, I'm sticking with the wisdom stuff to say, what's the worst advice you ever received?
Be quiet. I think it's the worst advice. I think it's the worst advice anyone has ever given a woman in the workplace, because the idea is that our silence is what is valued. And, you know, while men are jumping up and down on the table and, you know, doing their best Andre Agassi, breaking everything in a corner, they look at women and they say the 2 phrases, which is, you're too loud and you need to calm down. And anytime I have ever heard anyone give that advice, or anytime I have been told that, I have gotten louder and I have gotten less calm, because my statement to anyone usually is, trust me, you haven't seen me at a point where I really need to calm down. So let's not get me there.
I love it. I love it.
Ask him something back. I think it should be hobbies to stay.
Okay, let's go. Yeah, we'll go. Oh, I don't think I did ask you that. Did I ask you that hobby? No, I asked him the sports car hobby. But here's what I'm going to ask you. I am going to ask you this, because it'll kind of tell us maybe a little bit about maybe what you're covering, what you've covered, because I know your background has been really interesting. So here's what I'm going to ask you. What technology or tool do you wish you never had to use again in work, and
why? Any of the
CRM. Say CRM. Just say it.
I would say CRM.
Watch Holger's head fly off.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say CRM, but I will say any of those poorly designed, nearly unusable project management tools that have to get shared between product teams, product marketing teams, and engineering teams. They're some of them are, I won't name them, but some of them, and most people know what I'm talking about. It's Tuesday today, but if we'd have filmed this yesterday, it would have been more prescient to, at least one of the names of one of these, at least on their project management side. But yeah, I don't use them well. I don't like them, and I can just. Spreadsheets are amazingly functional.
Spreadsheets and sticky notes work just fine.
They work just fine for me. Yeah, I'm strangely analog when it comes to project management. Is all.
I love it. I love it. Well, Martin, you've survived. Do you feel like you're ready? You're ready to roll now. You're ready to don all purple.
I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to be loud and to be help you be even louder, Liz, which I like.
And scaringly, I think Martin, to be fair, he did okay to well, right? I mean,
yeah, he did great. I think he did great. Well, welcome to the gang. Yeah, welcome to the gang, Martin. And listen, I think this is closing us out. So Hannah's going to take us to the end. And as usual on any CRTV episode, it's not like we messed up or anything. So there's not going to be any bloopers at the end of this. It's going to be fine. Check y'all later.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hey everyone, Liz Mueller, Constellation Research, here with another Constellation Research CR-CX Convo. This time, let's talk body language. You walk into a party. You've never met the host before. You've never even been in their home before. You got invited by a friend. You walk up, you introduce yourself to the host. Hey, I'm Liz. Thank you so much for having me in your home. She introduces herself. Her name's Susan. You're thrilled to meet her. We go through all the pleasantries. You find out some really interesting things. She actually went to high school right up the street from where you went to high school. Different schools, but very similar experiences. Maybe you're in the same field. We're both marketers. Let's trade war stories. You leave the party and you thank her. You thank Susan for letting you come. And about a week later, you're walking down the street, you're grabbing a cup of coffee, and who is there but this woman, and you recognize her and you're like, oh my gosh, that's the host. That's the host of that party that I went to the other night. I think her name is, and all of a sudden you see it plain as day. You see her body language change. She relaxes. In fact, she's got a huge smile on her face. She comes walking towards you. Her pace is getting faster. Her arms open wide, and all you're thinking is, I can't remember her name. So what do? You reintroduce yourself. Hey there, I think we know each other. Hey, I'm Liz. And she looks at you and her body language changes again. Yeah, Liz, I know. I'm Susan. Remember, you were in my house a week ago. We've all had these experiences. We've all lived this nightmare, right? But we also all know that if you blow this the third time you meet Susan and you don't read that body language, you instantly know something's wrong. But here's the funny thing. The other thing that we know is it's not just about how Susan's standing, the body language that she is emitting. It's also about her behavior. The first time she saw you again, God, she wanted to hug you. The second time she saw you, she was a little more cautious. The third time you saw her on the street, she just walked right by. Why? Well, we all know she was insulted. So we say that about live experiences. We say that about body language. So why don't we think the same way when it comes to digital body language? Why are we so hesitant to look beyond a single event, a single view, a single time that we can look through that looking glass of analytics and data? And we can say, oh, based on this past event, I know what your body language was. So I'm going to assign all these traits to you. I'm going to assign all these activities. But the next time that customer comes to our site, the next time they come into their next e-commerce experience, we act like we don't know them. Or maybe we throw up their name. Maybe we give them some basic cues that maybe we remember who they are. But what do we keep looking for? Well, we keep looking for those body language cues. Are they ready to buy? Oh, are they moving to the next step in the journey? And then all of a sudden they disappear. And we don't know why. We're confused because we'd been tracking their body language. They seemed like they were finding exactly what they wanted. They were getting excited about searching online. They seemed like everything was going really well because what their body language told us was that they were leaning into the transaction. But we forgot one thing. That behavior tells us something else. And that's why, as we're looking for this next stage of how to really differentiate, how to really make a difference in modern e-commerce, we got to start looking at that behavioral analytics as well, right? We tend to isolate these ideas in a bucket, don't we, right? We tend to kind of be like, oh, no. We know exactly what happened. We know exactly what happened in that journey. They were really excited. They were just about to buy. And then they bail. So if we really want to go beyond just tracking digital body language and making predictive assumptions from that, we really have to look at that nuanced customer behavior lens. And great, it is great. I am not saying stop looking at digital body language. Absolutely, keep collecting all of those data, all of those insights. What I'm saying here is that digital body language provides us that surface level view. Right? In the same way that just the click data gives us kind of the rear view mirror, digital body language kind of gives us that surface layer beginning. It's the introduction to the party. But behavior analytics, well, that offers a much deeper understanding. That's when we're starting to analyze patterns. That's when we're looking at user journeys and looking at them over time and compared to their cohorts. We're looking at contextual information. And really the approach starts to, it opens up the opportunity for interpretation, right? It opens up the opportunity for us to far more accurately tailor strategies so that we can meet how not only body language, but behavior is changing and evolving our customers' needs. So when we start to look at behavior analytics, we have to actually also look at what the opportunity is, but also what some of the limitations are of what we already have collected when it comes to digital body language. So when we start to look at digital body language, we tend to look at it through a lot of predictive modeling. We're looking at segmentation. We're kind of looking at large cohorts. But by forecasting those future trends and categorizing users based on behavior, we're in a different ballgame now, right? Because now we can create those targeted marketing campaigns and personalized experiences that get to that personalized audience of one. And, I don't know about you guys, but in my career in marketing, it feels like for the last 30 years, I've been chasing personalization for at least 30 of them. But when you start to look at both that digital body language, that posture of your customer, and the behavior of not only your customer, but your customer's cohorts, all of a sudden, you're talking about optimization in flight. Now we're talking about optimizing user experiences continuously and adapting those strategies in a dynamic fashion that not only change because the customer's dynamics, but because of the market's dynamics, because of the environment's dynamics, because of context and the contextual dynamics that you're facing with that customer. Continuous optimization that's facilitated by behavior analytics is, that you're now talking about the capacity to understand, that might be Liz, or she says she's Liz, but she's popping up someplace that Liz has never been before. And she's typing really slowly. And we know Liz is a fast typer. That context, that behavior, all of a sudden, now you're looking at fraud. Now you're looking at protecting Liz from someone else who we know is not Liz. It's a very different conversation, right? We can start to find those anomalies. We can start to actually look at where those friction points are. Behavior analytics complements digital body language. It provides this comprehensive understanding of user behavior. It's empowering us to actually make informed decisions. And quite frankly, not just enhance personalization, but actually nail it. Actually get us to a point where personalization moves the needle and ensure the ongoing success of e-commerce. Because you know what? It's not just about telling me what my next best buy is going to be. It's about telling me the context of all of my purchases. Understanding what type of customer I am. Understanding what loyalty means to me. Understanding what I do and do not want, not only in this session, but in my next 3. So how do we start to get there, right? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Keep collecting all of that body language data, but also collect systems where you can start to look at that behavior and not just ask the question why. We're really good at asking why. Be bold enough in that next strategy session to ask why not, and look for the data from both the context of the customer, what their current body language is. Go look at that session, go understand that event, but look at the context, right? Go look at what happened with their behaviors. How did they get there? What did they do? Is that really them? Understand all of that so that together you're creating this really informed decision about what not only happens next, how you engage with that customer next, but how does it start to reformulate and reform strategies as you start to move forward. The reality is that e-commerce is moving forward quickly. It is taking more market share every single day. But the truly great experiences are the ones that are connecting that individual customer through their body language, through their behavior, through their context, and through how they want to proceed through their journey. That's where we're seeing the incremental growth. That's where we're seeing the best practice leaders go. So that's my challenge in this CRCX convo. When it comes to commerce, are you asking those questions of looking beyond digital body language. Look beyond where they're standing right now. Ask the why, ask the why not, interrogate that data differently. Because those outcomes, they're coming faster than ever. But customers are also leaving faster than ever because their expectations are higher than ever. And with that, until next time.
Okay, that wraps our episode, and Holger has been dying, literally dying, to talk to y'all about something.
We cannot go before having Liz and my prediction who's gonna win. Let's do the lower competition, the Copa America. Who's gonna be Colombia or Argentina?
I'm going Argentina. I'm
just going to be contradictory. I'm not going to give Messi his next Copa America. He already has one. I'm going to go with Colombia just to make it interesting. And then, of course, a more prestigious competition, the European Championship. Liz, England or Spain?
I'm gonna say the unpopular thing. I know that everyone wants like the heartstrings are pulling for England, and but I gotta go Spain. I gotta go Spain on this one.
We agree on this one. I'm going Spain all the way. And now
I'm Roses.
out of the water because Liz knows a lot about soccer. We're going to talk about the biggest live event every year, which is the Tour de France. The two-time winners, the last 4 Tour de France are battling 1-1 every day. So you can say, do you want the Danish guy to win or do you want the Slovenian guy to win?
Well, not the Slovenian guy. I don't know. I just want them both to not fall off their bike because that's what I hope for anytime I have to be on a bike. So that's Danish, Slovenian, stay on your bikes, guys.
So Liz is advocating a pat at the Tour de France, which has never happened. Yeah, I'm going to go with Pogacar. He looks better so far, but I could be wrong because Vingegaard got in the last 2 weeks in the third
Lance
week.
Armstrong still riding? I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, listen. This is the end. Yeah, he's outcast because for a lot of reasons, and that's a completely different type of show. Completely different type of show. That brings us officially to the end of CRTV, although y'all know that there's a ton of bloopers that come after this. And let me tell you, from the conversation we had before, there's going to be a lot of them. But thanks for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Next time up, of course, in 2 weeks' time, you're going to hear from Doug Henshin and Larry Dignan. So you know that's going to have a lot of news, and they do not drive the clown car to work like Holger and I do. So on behalf of us, thanks for joining us.
Don't miss that. Thanks for watching. Everything fell over. It must have been an earthquake. My screen is on here. Because you just, despite saying, "Oh, I come in and I'm surprised how far I have to run," it somehow the brain doesn't work like that.
Yeah, you know what you'd have to tell me? This is the name of your serial killer. What this person likes to do is cut off hands and eat liver. And he's going to be chasing you for the next 10 miles. Congratulations. This is exactly what he looks like. Yeah, but good luck.
But when you hear that for the 10th time, you say, it's not
going to
real.
Be a different serial killer. It's going to be a different person. Like, here's the avalanche that's about to come and kill you. Someone, in order to get me to run any distance, someone's going to have to tell me exactly what's chasing me that's about to kill me. I've literally got a fan in the front of my SoulCycle bike so that when I ride, I don't have to sweat too much. Do we all understand what the scenario is?
That's what everybody needs to do. I mean, because I'm like, you only have one fan, Liz?
Believe me, if I could surround my freaking bike with tornadoes, so it's like, whoa, where like I am like in a freezing cold wind tunnel.
Here's a quiz for you, my dear ladies. How many smartphones do I have?
Oh, geez. You have like 5. It's weird.
How many ventilators are around my Peloton?
Oh God, like 10? 3? Oh, you have to. Do you have like the one on the side?
Threes. All good things come in threes.
I couldn't give a shit how much performance I get on my SoulCycle bike. I want to know how much sweat I don't have to clean up off the floor. That's my baseline.
Liz, secret message. That is related.
I understand that, but I'm not like I don't want to think about it. I got the towel down there. I got the whole thing. The one that I want to get is the one that I can clip onto the screen. That's the one, because I've got 2 Dysons that are literally on the other side of the screen, so it comes in this way.
Yeah.
I would put one on the back if it didn't literally get into the way of my video filming. Right. Like this is the deal.
The trick really is huge differences. Don't turn to your face, turn to your core body.
On the core.
Try that, because then you sweat less on top. Because the sweat on top you want to have, because it cools your head, right? Because the main effort in the exercise is sweating to cool yourself from getting a heat stroke. So the transpiration on your head is good. The one on your body is the one which keeps your muscles cool and you sweat overall less because when your body temperature rises,
I could be like the lady who, so Scott and I have started walking every morning. It's like before, like after we drop Reagan off, we'll go for a walk we live in a hilly neighborhood, so we go. And there's this woman who goes on her walks at the same time. And she is in so many cooling towels for a leisurely walk through our neighborhood that I am like, girl, it is not that serious. She's got like one wrapped, like literally she's got like around her head, like on her forehead. Then she's got one wrapped like mummy style, like around, like under her chin and over her head. Then she's got one under her neck. And then she's got like the cooling t-shirt. I'm like, girlfriend, it's 78 degrees out right now. Like, what happens? We live in the San Fernando Valley. It gets to be like 110 here without even trying. What are you doing? Like, what happens at 110? And now I know, like, all the houses that have like 9 air conditioning units in our neighborhood, I guarantee you she lives in one of them. Boop, 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 boop. I'm down. Like, when I get into a hotel, I'm the hotel's AC management nightmare because I'm like 67. Like, I'm going to get my room so cold and then I turn the AC off. But I'm going to get it down there. Like I'm that person. It's like,
I finally learned to hear the difference, and I wasn't even aware that I'm not pronouncing THs properly.
You're German.
Thanks to AI. No, I say it correctly sometimes, but I got sloppy. But thanks to AI, I now have a fantastic text. Where is ChatGPT?
You could really have the hard part in your life, and you could be Irish, in which case you would always say trees completely incorrectly. And it would be things, you would be saying things like 33 instead of 33.
Yeah, but nobody complains that these people can't be understood. Because somehow the English have a problem with... What? Because what? Because they're funny.
Because
this is like talking about pronunciation issues and not funny. Charming. What can Germans do? I mean, this is unfair.
You're German.
Nothing.
You have spent generations. You've spent generations, and I might add, a couple wars, proving the unfunniness of the entire lot of you.
Always comes back to the wars that I didn't start.
Yeah, I'm just saying. saying.
I just think the pronunciation of some things should be changed in English, right?
Right. Yeah. Oh, right. See, and only a German would actually try to get the entire world to change pronunciation.
Yes.
So that Germans could pronounce something a certain way. I'm going to have to, Holger, I'm going to actually have to send you the picture of my poor father as president of the German club in the Lederhosen. Oh, my dad thought he was German. Like, German. Nope. 0%.
Damn you, 23andMe. Damn you.
Damn you, Ancestry.com. Stealing Germans from everyone.
If you don't have the accent to prove it, you're not it.
You're not it. Everyone's German at Constellation.
The Germans.
That's going to be our new shirt. That's going to be the new addition to our t-shirt shop. Everyone's German at Constellation.
You just don't know it. Oh, they don't know it.
We're not exclusive at all. We're not elitist
it's just gonna
at
say,
all.
Shh.
Yeah, the German consulting company in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, exactly. We can say that. We're the only Germans.
Yeah.
Oh, screw you,
the most German analyst company in the business.
The most German analyst company. Ah!
Right, are we good to go?
Okay. Yes. Okay, let's do the exit before Hannah just turns off the recording.
Okay, awesome. This might be one of the longer ones we've had.
Well, listen, the FTC doesn't come after us for going long, so thank God.
Yes. Herr Schneider, guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen, wie geht's?
Danke, gut. Wie stehen die Aktien?
Ja.
Ja.
Nur ein bisschen, mehr als ein bisschen, Aber,
so the German formal way of saying how's it going is how are the shares doing? So like stock market shares, wie stehen die Aktien? Or where are the shares standing? So like your personal shares.
Holger loves trying to say volatile things to me a week before we're supposed to see each other.
Or a minute after you see each other.
By
true.
the way,
That's usually true. Either way, either side of that equation usually happens. Martin, just understand that when CRTV involves Holger and Liz, it's like the clown car compared to when you appear with Doug and Larry. Doug has a script. There is a plan. There is research done. He looks at things. He pays attention. Doug is serious.
Flip side, we know the power of delegation because
Holger and I are just cruising in on the clown car, hoping to God someone watches. Okay, Hannah's going to come back and say, "Oh my God, you guys went like 19 minutes. What the hell?"
This will be a longer episode, but as you pointed out, nobody's coming to get us.
FCC's not coming to get us. I'm not getting a
you don't cut into a Frito-Lay commercial or anything, right?
Exactly. Barbara Walters can still come on after us.
Exactly.
Yeah.